Welcome back to Explaining Everything, the channel where we dive into the stories and mysteries behind everyday things. Today's question comes from one of our curious viewers, Bungus Master 2. Thanks for the suggestion, Bungus Master. You asked, what is the difference between propane and butane? An excellent question, and one that's burned in the minds of anyone who stared too long at a camping stove or a gas canister. They look the same. They both go whoosh, and they both make fire happen. But these two gases are like siblings who share DNA, yet behave totally differently at parties. So stay tuned as we break down the explosive personalities of propane and butane, right here on Explaining Everything. Let's start with chemistry. Both propane and butane belong to the alkane family, which sounds like a weird royal bloodline, but just means they're made of hydrogen and carbon atoms hanging out in chains. Propane's chemical formula is C3H8, while butane's is C4H10. That means propane has 3 carbon atoms and butane has 4, just 1 extra carbon. But that small change makes a big difference. Think of propane as the younger sibling who's quick and energetic, while butane is the slightly bulkier one who prefers a chill vibe. Both gases are extracted during natural gas processing and crude oil refining. Basically, when we pull fossil fuels from underground, they come with bonus gases like methane, ethane, propane, and butane. We then separate them out, like sorting Skittles by color, and store them in pressurized tanks. Under pressure, both turn into liquids. That's how they fit neatly into those metal canisters without floating away like confused balloons. But once the pressure is released, poof, they turn back into gases ready to ignite. Here's where things really split between the two. Temperature behavior. Propane works like that friend who thrives in chaos. Freezing cold, blistering heat, doesn't matter. It boils, turns into gas, at minus 42 degrees Celsius, or minus 44 degrees Fahrenheit, which means even in an icy snowstorm, propane stays vaporized and ready to burn. That's why propane is used in outdoor grills, heaters, and even for powering RVs in winter. Butane, not so much. Butane's boiling point is minus 0.5 degrees Celsius, or 31 degrees Fahrenheit, just around freezing. That means if the temperature drops too low, butane refuses to vaporize. It's like, nope, too cold, I'm staying liquid. That's why if you've ever tried to use a butane lighter outside in the middle of winter and it didn't work, it wasn't broken, it was just throwing a tiny tantrum. So, the short version. Propane loves the cold. Butane needs a warm blanket. If you were to host a cookout in the Arctic, bring propane. If you're in your cozy kitchen making creme brulee, butane's your guy. Now, let's talk about their personalities under pressure, literally. Propane is stored at higher pressure than butane. That's because propane wants to be a gas, even at low temperatures. So we have to keep it on a tighter leash to stay liquid in the tank. It's like that friend who always needs to be told to calm down before they do something wild. Butane, on the other hand, is more laid back. It liquefies easily at lower pressures, so its storage tanks don't need to be quite as beefy. That's why portable lighters and small camping stoves often use butane. The containers are smaller and lighter. When it comes to energy, they're surprisingly close. Butane packs a little more energy per liter, but propane gives off slightly less energy per unit volume, not enough to matter for most uses. The real difference lies in where you can use them, not how strong they are. Think of propane as the all-terrain gas, rugged, reliable, always down for an adventure. Butane is more of a city dweller, refined, efficient, and happier indoors where it's warm. Here's the fun twist. Sometimes companies mix propane and butane together, depending on where you live. In colder countries, propane dominates because it won't freeze up. But in warmer regions, companies sneak in more butane because it's cheaper and performs just as well in heat. So, depending on your climate, your LPG, that's liquefied petroleum gas, might be more propane, more butane, or a cocktail of both. And yes, the fuel in your gas tank could literally be different if you cross a national border. In Canada, it's mostly propane heavy. In places like the Philippines or Spain, more butane-friendly mix. The gas adapts to the weather better than most of us do. So, what's the difference between propane and butane? Chemically, they're close cousins, but in behavior, they're totally different characters. Both are efficient, both are flammable, very flammable, and both make modern life easier. But they shine in their own environments. So next time you grab a gas canister or light a flame, remember, the only difference between propane and butane isn't just one carbon atom. It's attitude. If you enjoyed this deep dive, don't forget to like, subscribe, and maybe pick one already. The guests are getting hungry. Also, if you have suggestions for our next video, feel free to share them in the comments below. We'll be sure to give you an acknowledgement for your contribution. If you enjoyed this video, please check out our other bingeable channels. Thank you for tuning in, and join us next time here in the channel that answers all the why, what, who, where, and how questions you've always wondered about, here on Explaining Everything.